What is it your whole life that you've had an awareness of that you haven't been able to tell or explain to other people that you've decided you don't have anymore? So I'm curious, what are the things you put on the shelf? Maybe something that was fun for you, maybe something you're great at, maybe an awareness you have that nobody else does, maybe a way of doing something that nobody else does that you can now start to reawaken. Hey everybody, this is Dr. Dane. Welcome to this installment of the Tour of Consciousness from Castle Borgone. You can see the corn. Castle Cornbone, Borncone, where we have our castle, as you may know. And we just had an event here called Embodiment Done Different. And wow, it's interesting to participate in these things, because if you've ever been to an Access Consciousness class, you know how indescribable the change is. It's like these things, like you didn't know you had cotton in your ears until the cotton is removed. You didn't know you were wearing dark glasses until you start to see a lot more light. So, what an interesting thing to be part of this journey, and to also think that we need to somehow describe it to other people, because you can't. And I'm curious. So, one of today's tools, and by the way, yes, it has been a while. I've had a dynamic inability to put things into words that are going on lately. But one of my questions would be, what is it your whole life that you've had an awareness of that you haven't been able to tell or explain to other people that you've decided you don't have anymore? And everything that is, right, wrong, good and bad, POD and POC, all 100, shorts, boys, focus, creations, and beyonds. And so this is a rather dynamic thing I found, is that people will have amazingness, but if they're not acknowledged or not validated, or they're made wrong for it, oh man, it's like they just kill it. They put it on some shelf, never to be found again. So I'm curious, what are the things you put on the shelf? Maybe something that was fun for you, maybe something you're great at, maybe an awareness you have that nobody else does, maybe a way of doing something that nobody else does that you can now start to reawaken. Everything that doesn't allow that, you destroy. Ooh, look how pretty. Everything that doesn't allow that, will you destroy and uncreate it all, please. Right, wrong, good and bad, POD and POC, all 100, shorts, boys, povets, bases, creations, and beyonds. It is so beautiful here. And yes, I know I'm backlit, but sorry. It's worth it for the walk. Let's put it that way. Because I see so many people who are fundamentally different in the way they look at certain things. Maybe all things, I'm not sure, and then they try to cover up that difference because it's different. And what I would like to create is a world in which each of us in our difference contributes, where that difference is seen as a contribution because you have a unique perspective. And if you look at it, man, just look at like any I don't know, any idea, any business, any person that has changed the world. And there are so many. Well, they did that by not doing the same thing, but by finding a different way. In other words, not shutting off that difference, not devaluing the difference, not going, oh, well, I'm the only one who gets it this way, therefore. But you could also recognize the struggle stories that so many people have. I mean, they make movies about it. The person was so different and they were almost going to give up, but somebody came along and saw them, and then they finally went forward. Well, dear Lord, what if we don't have to do the friggin' drama of all of that? What if you could just go, wow, okay, I'm gonna be as different as I am. I'm gonna make videos while walking down the highway. Well, I guess I would call this the highway. Walking down the road. And hello, tractor. Whew, it's a burst of wind. That was nice. Like that. Oh, there's a tractor if you want to see it. I mean, I know you saw it, but maybe you just heard it. I don't know. But that difference is the gift of you. And what if the difference of you is truly the gift of you. Here's what I'm gonna give you as a potential tool. Home play, yay! Tour of consciousness, home play, yay! Which is, write down 3 things that you see differently or perceive differently or view differently or know differently than other people. And also, I'd like you to look at, when you were a little kid, what were you made wrong for not getting right and not getting like other people? Because that is another clue. And I just got to show you oh my goodness, look, there's a wheat field. And it's funny, since I've been, doing baking and cooking and all this sort of stuff, I see this wheat here and I'm like, wow, in the US, they would not do a wheat field this small because you get the idea. But, man, can you imagine how wonderful it must be to make pizza with this? Eat the bread from this? A little different than we do in the US. What a gift. So if you look at what was I made wrong for not getting right when I was a kid, and write down 3 or 4 or 10 or 1,000 things, because I think it might point you in the direction of, because when you're made wrong for something, you try to avoid it. You try to cut it out of your life. Why? Because here you are just being you, and everybody else seems to have a problem with it. Why do they have a problem with it? Because they're conditioned to try to put you in the box of this reality, this thing we call messed reality, matter, energy, space, and time. Energy and space are what's true. Matter and time are sandwiched on the ends, and you believe they're all together always. So there is a continuous state of limitation based on what matters and what doesn't. Oh, that's a long story. Oh my goodness. I don't know if you can see this little guy. It's in cinematic mode and I can't see, but I'm trying. Hello. I'm trying to encourage him to, I think he's trying to do a heroic crossing. Well, I'm going to let him live his life. So when we're made wrong, it's like, here you are just going along being you, and it feels like you just get judgment. You just like slam. So in what way would you think it was a good thing to be that different? Well, I'm going to suggest that might be the key to the freedom you've been seeking, might be the key to the creation you've been desiring, might be the key to getting out of the limbo you've been choosing. It might actually be the key to enjoying your life and creating everything you actually desire to create. So, better lighting and cyclists. So, everything that doesn't light or perceive, know, be, and receive the gift of the difference of you. Will you destroy and uncreate all that, please? Times a gazillion, right? Wrong about all 100, pod, puck, shorts, boys, poveds, bases, Christians, and beyond. I know it's a bit of a long video, but I don't know. Something about walking out here makes me just want to try to cover all the bases in a really meandering sort of way. Of course, I guess I do that all the time, huh? Okay, so write down the differences from young, and write down what you've been made wrong for, and write down the difference in how you perceive things now, and then look at it and go, okay, what if this is one of my strongnesses, and what if I'm not wrong? There you go. All right, beautiful you. Have fun being the difference you are. I see that as a gift, and I hope you always know the gift that you are. And what if you, truly being you, being as different, as weird, as wonderful, as bizarre, as you've been made wrong for being, are the gift, the change, and the possibility this world requires. You are. I thank you for being, and I can't wait to see you soon one day and give you a big hug and a kiss on your cheek. Mwah!